Hey everybody, and welcome to Shooting the Shit Uncensored. I am your host, Piers Austin. Today I was supposed to be joined by Leo Rush, but Leo hasn't shown up today for the interview. So my good friend Juan Stroman, aka Kevin Rodriguez from Wrestling Review Society, has been kind enough to jump on and bullshit with me for a little bit. Kevin, thanks for coming on.
Juan Stroman says you're going to get these tacos.
So,
Hey man, it's no problem, man. You know, I went through a very similar situation with Royce Isaacs. I was fortunate enough to get a hold of him, and it was a big time zone miscommunication. Dude, you living in Australia, the talent living here in America. I mean, stuff happens. It's also a holiday weekend, and you know, it's like I was telling you in the backstage area. There's not very many people in this hobby going out and doing what you and I are doing. Going out and getting wrestlers week after week after week, sending hundreds and hundreds of emails and Twitters and Instagrams. This stuff is going to happen. But the thing I want you to remember, man, you have consistently gotten guests that nobody ever thought you would get, getting people to come in and share their experiences with this hobby. Don't take this as a setback, man. Life happens. For all we know, he could have a family member sick. I pray to God that's not the case, but it is a holiday weekend. And I mean, everybody knows around the holidays, family stuff gets really hectic.
yeah, no, absolutely. To say I'm not devastated, is a real
Absolutely.
understatement. To me, having an opportunity to, every guest that I get and have been fortunate enough to interview, I always have this surreal moment before when I interview them, and it's almost like I can't believe I'm about to interview this person. And when I interviewed Al Snow the other day, it was the same sort of thought that went through my mind. And even this morning, I was up at like 5 a.m. this morning. Like I was pumped for this interview. I've been like shadow boxing, just really excited for this interview. And for this not to be happening right now is, man, I ain't gonna lie. I feel like I've let a lot of people down.
No, man, no. And you know, Ben Walker's watching. He just commented, said, "What's up, guys?" And
Hey, Ben.
you know, we got guys in this hobby like Ben Walker, like myself, like Josh Hammer, people who understand that, you know, when we go out and we try to get these pro wrestling interviews, sometimes it just doesn't work out. I mean, they could agree to do the interview with the best of intentions, but life happens, and I completely get what you're saying, man. When I first decided I was going to start trying to get pro wrestling interviews, I never thought I was going to get two, let alone three, let alone four, whatever the case may be. But sitting here, you know, I started my first one the first week of January. So 4 months in, man, and I sit here and I'm not trying to brag or anything, but I've got Vampiro, Garrett Bischoff, and guys like that, personal cell phone numbers in my phone. We get excited about this, but you know, the truth of the matter is life happens and you can't prepare for everything. So I know you're experiencing your first one now, and I know I'm headed for a big one. I know that at some point somebody's not going to show up. We can't hold it against them for the simple fact, like I said, life happens. So, Leo Rush, if you go back and watch this by any grace of God, no hard feelings, man. We get it. Life happens.
Oh,
It's a holiday weekend.
Absolutely.
It's a holiday weekend, but the thing is, man, we just got to keep pushing forward and get to the next one because even though this is a major setback, we've done great things for this hobby, bringing in these pro wrestling guests and this whole live interview thing that we've been doing. We have allowed people in this hobby to ask questions to some of their favorite wrestlers. And no matter what happens, no one's ever going to be able to take that away from them. So I honestly think we've brought something really good to this hobby.
Yeah, no, I know where you're coming from, Kevin, and look, there's no hard feelings on Leo Rush. I mean, it's Easter long weekend. There's a lot of things going on. There's a lot of craziness in the world as well. There's a lot of uncertainty in the world as well. So, you know me, Kevin. I don't hold any like angst or hurt towards
Absolutely.
anyone. You know what I mean? So, especially over something so trivial as this, you know. So, but like I said, I
Thank
still
you,
feel
Ben.
like, yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Ben. And to get messages like that and to get comments like that, it means a lot. And
And
like
you
I
know,
said,
just based off what Ben said, man, I was glued to the screen last night for your Samantha Heights interview. A lot of people may not know who she is, but she's definitely an up and comer. She's going to take the world by storm one day. And if you guys don't know who Samantha Heights is, you really need to look her up. Piers, that was some of your best work last night, man. I'm so fucking proud of you for it.
Yeah, thank you very much. So, you know what? It helps when you have someone who's engaging, as you know, Kevin. When you're doing these interviews, you really, you know, it's a personality thing as well. Sometimes you get people in there that are so dry, and you really have to suck the interview out of them, and really
I've
not that sort of stuff, but you know what I mean. Like you
I've
really have to pull
definitely
stuff out of
I've definitely had one where I was getting very, because when we ask these questions, we want elaboration, we want the story behind it, and I've definitely had ones that were, that interview was like pulling teeth, but I tried to do the best with it. But I got to give it up to my guest last night. Last night I was very fortunate to interview Garrett Bischoff, the son of Eric Bischoff, former
it. He's
Aces and
amazing.
Eights member.
He's amazing.
He was a freaking rock star, man, and he was so entertaining. And he's texted me like twice today. Can't wait to do part two. I'm sure somewhere down the line, as a matter of fact, I know somewhere down the line, me and Garrett Bischoff are going to step back into the war room, and we're going to go one-on-one for round two again.
Yeah, man. Garrett was an amazing guy. I really loved that interview. I really enjoyed it.
It was
I
a
sat
blast.
Unfortunately, I missed it live. Unfortunately, Kevin, which I will go and bang my head against the wall for. But no, I definitely watched it, and I really enjoyed it. And Garrett Bischoff really it really came across like, and as I said to you before, over messages, it really came across like you guys were having a conversation with two friends, and we were witnessing two friends having a conversation, which just happened to go into bits about professional wrestling. Me being from Australia, I find it so, like, I don't want to say funny, but like how you guys just casually just talk about guns. Yeah, so this is the one I conceal, but when I'm like walking around the street, I have this fucking bad boy sitting on my leg, and I'm just like, Jesus,
Yeah,
like,
man.
but no, like, it is like to be able to interview these guys and to have these opportunities, like, for me to interview Al Snow the other day, like my sister who is not into pro wrestling anymore, I told her like the day after, I was like, oh, I interviewed Al Snow the other day. She's like, the guy with the mannequin head, like she remembered it from her childhood,
Yeah,
like,
man.
and
Dude,
she's like, "Are you serious? You got to interview him? Why didn't you tell me? I would have." I'm like, "Oh, okay." Like,
if you would have told me, because I did my very first interview January 7th with Dave Christ of OVE, a former tag team champion, somebody you and I have both got to know very well over the last couple weeks. Shout
yeah.
out to Dave Christ, always an amazing guy, always super entertaining. And thank you so much, Dave, for supporting both our shows. But if you would have told me on December 1st, literally a month beforehand, that I was going to be able to sit down and talk to Nick Aldis, the current NWA World Champion, Tim Storm, a living legend, Dave Christ, former tag team champion, Garrett Bischoff, Vampiro, and I'm sure the feeling is the same for you. If you would have told me I've been able to sit down and talk to these guys and them ask nothing in return other than, hey, just make sure you knock it out of the park, you know,
Mm.
I would have called you a freaking liar, but we've been able to do some amazing stuff, and I'm really looking forward to what this year has in store for both our shows.
Yeah, and that's one of the big things as well. Like we both started around the same time, and there's never been any competition between the two of us.
No,
It's when you get someone, like when you got oldest, that was a win for me. I took it as a win for me, and
absolutely.
we just have Leo Rush joining us now, Kevin. So
Oh,
one sec,
really?
yeah.
What's
Leo
going on?
is up.
Oh my God!
I was just sitting here saying,
We are not
sorry.
worthy, sir. We are
What's
not
going
worthy.
on?
I was just sitting here saying, apologizing. Obviously, maybe something's come up. Leo couldn't make it, and here
Um,
you are. So,
Hey, Piers, really quick, out of respect for both you and Leo, this is your interview. This is not my spotlight. I'm going to jump off. I will be watching. Leo, I'm a huge, huge fan. I'll definitely be chiming in some questions, but Piers, this is your spotlight, not mine. So I'm going to head out, but I'll definitely be watching.
no worries, Kevin. It's actually
Appreciate you,
Leo's
man.
spotlight. So,
Absolutely.
but thank you very much for jumping in and
Leo,
taking part.
lifelong fan, forever a supporter, and I can't wait to watch this interview.
Definitely, my man. I appreciate you.
See y'all.
See you later, Kevin. Leo, thank you for joining me. We didn't get a chance to have a bit of a debrief, but welcome to Shooting the Shit Uncensored. I am Piers Austin, and we are going to get into the interview with yourself. But Leo, let's first of all take it, where were you born? Where did you grow up? Let's start off with the first part.
Yeah, man. So I was born in the United States, of course. I'm from originally Maryland. I claim the DMV area, which is DC, Maryland, Virginia, just because I've been all throughout those three states, kind of growing up. Just that's where my family is. So yeah, I grew up in the DMV area, and yes, it's pretty awesome, man.
Awesome, dude. So, look, I've been a big fan of yours before you got to WWE. I'm not sure if you can see just on my shoulder there, but that's a replica of a CZW world title. So,
Yeah.
all my friends who know me I'm a big CZW mark, and I loved the work that you did in CZW. And one of the things I wanted to ask you when I first knew that I was going to be having you on was, and I'm not going to be in any chronological order here, so it's more of a conversation that how we do my show here. So,
Yeah.
But one of the things I wanted to ask you is when you went into having your feud with Sami Callihan, and you went into that darkest stage of Lio Rush, and that ring entrance that you did at Cage of Death, where you had the cover of Fade to Black, the Rolling Stones classic. And that ring entrance literally gave me goosebumps watching it. And it was I put that entrance up there, and this is like 100% truth. That was like a very Undertaker-esque entrance where like I got that same sort of feeling seeing that entrance that you did. How did you come up with creating that? How did you come up with the idea around it? I believe you had your girlfriend who was part of the intro to begin with as well. How did it all come about?
Man, it's so crazy every time that this is brought up, because when anyone asks me about my run on the independent circuit, they always bring up my Blackheart character. And I've done so much on the independent circuit, and for that to be the one thing that people remember the most is pretty cool. Just because it kind of came out of nowhere. It was something that I thought was cool, something that was different, and I wanted to kind of tap into something a little out of the norm for me, just because I've been in Ring of Honor, I've been all around the indies, but just as like Lio Rush, just as like a generic kind of just a wrestler. And I wanted to tap into some more character stuff. And at the time I was going through some personal stuff in my life, and I was feeling kind of dark mentally, and I didn't know how to deal with it other than merging it into my into what I was doing in the ring, just because it was just a part of my life, and it was overtaking everything that I was doing. So I was just like, you know what, screw it, let's do something a little darker. Let's use this emotion and let it fuel this character a little bit. So that's kind of where that came from. As far as like there's some other things that kind of came into that, but I don't know if you remember the movie Beastly. And it's funny because I was just talking about this today, but I don't know if you know the movie Beastly or not, but it's like a modern day version of Beauty and the Beast.
Okay.
Yeah, this guy had like just veins all over him, and I was just like, man, that looks awesome. And I just kind of merged that look with how I was feeling, and like the whole black heart, just dark emotion and stuff like that. And it just turned out like it just happened so organically. It wasn't something that I kind of like planned out for weeks or months or anything like that. It just happened so organically, and it caught on.
Yeah, like to me, seeing that entrance, and especially on the independent circuit as well, to me that was just that entrance to the lead up to the match that you had as well. Like, I mean, obviously the entrance was one thing, and sort of the Blackheart character was one thing, but then also to go in and wrestle the sort of style that you do, it really is breathtaking to see. Like you really are. And I think that Blackheart character, you really brought it to life as well, because you're bringing out this darker side, this more evil side. And just even the walk to the ring, like you could see the psychology that was in that. And for someone obviously so young in age in the professional wrestling business as well, it was amazing to see that someone so young was able to grasp that psychology and really deliver on it, and on any type of stage. But do you think that could you see yourself doing that character on a much larger stage in the WWE?
Man, I think yes, because I think yes and maybe. I don't know. Yes, because I obviously a lot of people enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. It was again, it was cool, it was different, it was unique. But I got asked the same question when I was doing this in CZW. I didn't do this anywhere else but CZW. And I think I brought it out one time at Defy Wrestling against Davey Richards. But that's because I was defending the CZW title. And I feel like it all just kind of came about and grew based off of, the storyline that I was in with like Sami Callihan and Joey Janela. So I always felt like if I were to do it somewhere else, it wouldn't really make sense. I feel like I would have to be in the right scenario or right frame of mind for it to work out and for it to really make sense, if that makes sense to you.
Oh, no, absolutely. You have to be in the right headspace to go into that character, and that's something that you've seen, that I've seen other wrestlers say in the past in interviews as well, where to take it to that next sort of level in their career, or to take an alter to a past gimmick, it depends where they're at mentally as well, and if they're prepared to go back into that headspace mentally as well, because yes, wrestling is a theatrical sporting event, but it also takes into the mentality of the performer doing the role, and if they can perform it to their best capabilities that they're happy with as well. So
yeah, man.
So Kevin Rodriguez, who was just back on, he just wants to know, did you ever read the book Beastly?
I did not read the book. I'm not much of a reader. Just because I really don't have the patience for it. But I love the movie. The movie was awesome.
Yeah, no, it's I definitely have to go check out the movie now. So now that we're all in quarantine, I'm sure I'll have plenty of time in between chasing after my kids. But so when you first started training in pro wrestling, at I believe it was the MCW Training Center, how was it when you first stepped into a ring for the first time and taking that bump for the first time? Was it something like, "Oh, I wasn't expecting that," or it was like, "I'm home"?
So funny story. I was actually involved in a match before I even started training to be a professional wrestler.
Really?
And my first bump ever was a choke slam from Gene Snitsky.
Oh, wow.
I don't know if you remember Gene Snitsky.
I remember him. It's not my fault.
Yeah. I took a choke slam for Gene Snitsky, and I definitely got a concussion. I definitely got a concussion from that. And then I was like, okay, I'm definitely going to learn how to do this properly and not go out there and just, see what happens. So I started training at MCW, Pro Wrestling Training Center. And it was just such a different feeling. Although the first bump that I took was in a ring and it was a match and everything, it was such a different feeling from when I stepped foot in a ring when I started training. I definitely felt like that was where I belonged. It felt like home. It felt comfortable. It was awesome. It was amazing, an amazing feeling, especially knowing, what ring I was stepping into. I knew the lineage and the history of MCW and the superstars that they produced. So I was pretty happy with, just being there overall and knowing that I was in good hands.
Yeah. And who are you training with? Was there any other known people that were in the same class as you?
Yeah. Yeah. So we had Jessica Carr, who is currently an NXT referee, the very first female referee, full time, who's now on SmackDown. Renee Michelle, who is Drake Maverick's wife. She was a part of that class. We also had my tag team partner, Mr. Velveteen Dream. We were
Patrick Clark.
Yep, Patrick Clark. We were in a tag team called Sudden Impact. We had some other people in there too, who are currently still on the indies. I know a lot of them have, wrestled in Ring of Honor and Evolve Wrestling, like Ken Dixon, Joe Keys. So a lot of cool people came out of that class.
So once you sort of graduated from wrestling school, wrestling college, and you definitely were involved with a few names there, and I was going to bring up Patrick Clark, to seeing where both of you are now to where you first started. But when you first broke into professional wrestling, what were your top, say 3 to 5 goals that you wanted to achieve? Did you set yourself out any goals in the beginning?
I did, but they were very small. I did have one major goal, but that was more so a mindset. And it was, if I didn't make it to the WWE within 4 years, then I didn't do my job. I kind of compared it to college, and I don't know if university is the same, how it is over there, and against how it is here in America. But there's 4 years of university here, and I kind of compared it to that because I didn't go to I did. I went to college, but I eventually dropped out just because of a number of things. But I kind of gave myself that time. I compared myself to, my friends and who I grew up with, and I knew that they were going to be in school for the next 4 years of their life. And I said to myself, okay, I'm not going to school for these next 4 years. So let me focus on wrestling. Let me focus on, my career. And if I didn't make it to the WWE within those 4 years, then, I made the wrong choice. But hey, I made it in 2.5. So thank God for that. But yeah, man.
But it just goes to show the talent that you are, to be able to from when you started to then being now part of WWE in within 2 years. That's phenomenal. Like it's almost unheard of in a lot of cases. And and it's not like that you started out as a former athlete that was signed to a developmental deal and was trying and was paid to learn how to wrestle. You went out and you have worked the indies. You have worked for reputable places, and you've had classic matches. And I think that the seasoning you've done elsewhere, when you came to WWE, in my opinion, I thought you were ready for Raw and SmackDown. I thought like this guy is just like put him straight on the main show. He can compete on that level, and at an entertaining level with anyone that you put in front of it. And and you definitely have seen that with what you've been able to do with wrestling with bigger guys, wrestling with smaller guys. Even when you're partnered up with Lashley as Lashley's mouthpiece, you were taking some horrendous fucking bumps, dude. Like I'd sit there and watch and be like, I mean, I'm about the same height as you. I'm about 5'5", around 5'5", 5'6". So to me, it's like I see like some big dudes. I'm like, oh shh. Like I was feeling for you, man. But it's definitely seen where you can get to. But I wanted to mention, you got signed with WWE. And you were down in NXT. You had a situation where you got a little bit of heat on you for a tweet that was sent out, which was with all in all, like, you know, when I read it, it was more like, okay, it's just a little bit of it's a fun, joking tweet. Like, there's no malice in it. Like, I didn't see it as something like that, but you did get a little bit of heat from that. You know, what was your reaction to that? Were you like, man, they're overreacting, or did you go back and go, okay, yeah, I kind of deserve that?
So I'm not gonna lie here. At first, I remember clear as day, like this was yesterday. I remember sitting in a Waffle House, and I don't know if you know what a Waffle House is.
Yeah.
But I was sitting in a Waffle House, and I remember scrolling on Twitter, and I saw that news, like that headline of people, I guess, who got released, and mindful that, you know, I just got signed to the WWE. I was 20, 21, 22 years old, and of course, age is no excuse at all. But again, I'm so new to the WWE. I'm new to seeing, you know, tweets and from the WWE, just because I was so busy, like on the indies, and I was worried about promoting myself. So I didn't know really what was a work or what was real, or because I'm usually, when I see tweets from the WWE, it's usually all storyline stuff.
Yeah.
So it was a little not confusing at the time, because I tweeted what I tweeted, but when I saw it, I thought that it was a work, because I've never seen the WWE tweet about people that are like shoot release, like, okay,
Yeah.
we're wishing this person the best. And I thought it was a work, because I remember the match with Asuka, and I was like, oh, this must be a part of whatever. So when I did the tweet, and I remember, I'll never forget, I remember Patrick Velveteen texted me and was like, hey, I'm getting some text messages, something about like a tweet. I think you should take it down. And I thought about it, and I was like, why? Like, I didn't think it was as big of a deal, because obviously I didn't know that it was like for real. Like, these people actually got released, and it wasn't a part of an angle with Oscar or anything. But the more that I started seeing the backlash that I was getting on Twitter, I was like, oh shit, this is real, and it's getting real really fast.
Yeah.
So, and at the time, and I ended up deleting the tweet from seeing how serious it was getting. And but by that time, it was already hell in the waters, just because obviously people had screenshotted what I said, and it just blew up. And yeah, man, it was rough. I was definitely confused for a while, but then I quickly realized, you know, how serious the situation was, and unfortunately, it was just nothing that I could really, you know, do about it at the time.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I think, you know, it's a fine line between you know, knowing what's a work and what's a reality sometimes, especially, you know, in that world of professional wrestling. But yeah, look, at, you know, for me, you know, as a fan seeing that, it was like, okay, yeah, like to me, it wasn't something in bad. Like, I didn't read it in bad taste, but you know, I'm not an uptight person like that, so I'm a very laid back sort of guy. So I read it as like, oh, okay, like that doesn't seem like the worst thing in the world to say. Like, it's not like you said, you know, good riddance, you know, or something like that. It was definitely no personal attack, but you know, I find it interesting sometimes in you know, from what I hear about the wrestling business, how it can get really fickle sometimes on some real like minor things that I think, oh wow, really? Someone got upset about that? But you know, I don't work in that industry.
Very weird. It was very weird. And obviously it was so stupid. Thinking back on it now, being 25 years old and making a tweet when I was 21, it was like, man, what a stupid thing to say.
But that's the thing. You live and you learn. That's the thing you have to understand, though, Leo. You know, you live and you learn. Like, you know, you learn from your mistakes. Like, I'm 37 years of age. If I think back some of the things I did when I was 21, I'm like, That's a good thing I wasn't a celebrity at like at that age, because shit, man, I'd be, God knows where I'd be. But I definitely think, but that's the thing, people deserve second chances and opportunities to redeem themselves, and that's something that you've definitely done. Like your career, so far in WWE. When you were partnered up with Lashley and just being that the man of the hour character. Which leads me into there is a question here from Kevin Rodriguez again, and I want to discuss the man of the hour character. But Leo, did you enjoy the Blackheart more than the man of the hour character?
It was a different kind of fun. Again, I felt like, and a lot of people wasn't aware of this when I was doing the Blackheart character, but again, like this was something that happened so organically. And I was kind of doing it more for me. I was trying to figure out a way to cope with my emotions and feelings that I was going through personally. So I felt like it was kind of like therapy for me to go out and, wear my heart on my sleeve and have the people kind of relate to it. And it just made me overall feel good that, people enjoyed it. But with the man of the hour character, it was just fun, man. It's super brash and loud and arrogant. And it's just fun. Like, who doesn't like being the bad guy? Like it.
Look, because I'm such a fan of yours, Leo. Like when I saw you make it, like when I saw you on Raw, I was like, oh, cool. Like fuck, Leo Rush, blah blah. Blah. And then I saw you like doing the heel stuff. I'm like, oh no, he's still cool. And then I was like, week after week, I'm like, man, what a dick. and that's the thing. Like when you can convince someone, like, I've been a wrestling fan for like since I was like 4 or 5 years old, so a good 30 years. So when a wrestler can actually get me to turn and go, what an asshole. Like I'm like, well played. But I definitely like the man of the hour character though, like just coming out, and it's always reminds me of it. It's like you've got the big Bobby Lashley, and then you got like this little guy just jumping around going, hey, what's up, man? I'm gonna cause some shit, like really just antagonize, being like the antagonizer. And the antagonizer of it, to me, is like, it was really enjoyable. And you actually brought out a character in Bobby Lashley as well, which, I think that, people were able to start to see a different side of him as well in that partnership. But who came up with the idea of putting you and Lashley together?
It was Vince. It was so crazy, man. At the time I was on 205 Live, and I was traveling with the SmackDown loop, and I just ended up I got a call saying that they needed me for Monday Night Raw, and I was like, oh wow, that's different, that's cool. I didn't know, they didn't tell me what exactly I was doing. I just showed up. I got there, ended up talking to Vince, talked to Paul Heyman, and they kind of gave me the rundown, and I was like, man, this is huge. But at the same time, I was so confused because I was never known as the promo guy. So for them to say, hey, we want you to talk for Bobby, we want you to be his hype man, his manager, I was like, whoa, this is serious. I was definitely nervous. Just because, I like, again, I've never been known as the promo guy, and back to what you said with, you felt like, I was able to go right to Raw as soon as I got signed to NXT. And I felt that way physically. I was confident enough in my in-ring ability, and I knew that I would be able to put on good matches and work with all of these guys. But I definitely did not feel comfortable with my mic skills at all. So I'm glad that I got put in that position. And because I literally learned as that time was going on. I learned how to cut promos.
But man, you were cutting some amazing promos, and Kevin Rodriguez writes, the man of the hour ring gear is badass, and that was some pretty badass gear. But when you're working for WWE, you're gonna get some cool shit to wear to the ring. So
got to, man.
But but that's the thing. Like for me, when I saw you partnered up with Lashley, my thought went, okay, they're going to build Lashley as a formidable opponent for Lesnar. And it's, Lesnar's got Paul Heyman, Lashley's got Lio Rush. And that to me got me excited. Like the fantasy booking in my head, like I'm just imagining like the build up, like the promo to promo for you and Paul Heyman to go back and forth with. And I really think that, if given that opportunity, you guys could have done some really entertaining promos. But was that ever on the table for Lashley and you? Was that the sort of plan at any stage?
Oh, we talked about it all the time. All the time we talked about it. That was literally, from the day that we started, we were like, we need to build this to eventually go head to head with Lesnar and Heyman. And still to this day, crazy. The last time I was Bobby was, over a year ago, and people still talk about it to this day that, man, I really wish we would have got Leo and Bobby versus, Heyman and Lesnar. I think that would have been really cool. That was just something that everybody wanted. So,
I was clamoring for it. But but that's the thing. Like there's so many opportunities, and obviously for yourself that being as young as you are, to go in and get that exposure and that experience, interviewing an established guy like Lashley, or not interviewing, sorry, but managing or being the hype man for an established guy like Lashley, is such a great opportunity to find yourself in, and for you to walk away with it now. Being known as a promo guy where you weren't beforehand. So, it definitely seemed like a win for you guys. But, what was the reasoning for pulling you and Lashley apart, though? Because it seemed to be working so well. And it seemed to be a little bit early for them to pull the plug on it.
Yeah, to be honest, I really don't know. And I don't think I'll ever get that answer, unfortunately. I know at the time, and I've already been pretty open about this. But at the time there was some complications and misunderstandings with me and the company, and we just didn't agree on a lot of things. So I don't think that they took that too well. Being having a 20, I don't know how old I was, 23-year-old, 24-year-old kid being, dissatisfied with the position that he was in. I don't think they took that too well. So I think they just literally just split it. But it is what it is. I think the stuff that I did with Bobby left a huge impact, left a major impact on the world of wrestling, on my career, on Bobby's career. And I truly believe that, no matter what I do or no matter what Bobby does in the company, going forward, people will always bring back, what me and Bobby did together, because it was so special and it was so unique.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It definitely was unique and it definitely was special. But we've got another question from Kevin. He says, Leo, I understand it was part of Bobby's angle, but you still got to help defend the IC title. What was it like to build a historic champion? What's it like building a historic championship?
It was so cool, man. I never, I don't know. Like I held the Cruiserweight title before. I've been in a couple of like live show events up against like NXT like champions and stuff like that, but I've never to hold like the Intercontinental Championship, a title that you grew up watching and knowing the history behind it. It was so cool to just hold it, honestly. But to not only talk about it, help defend it, help get it back. It was such a cool feeling. Being a part of that is definitely something that I'll never forget.
So we actually stream our show in a couple of wrestling collector, belt collector groups. And this is probably going to be a question that comes out, but just to quickly, Jeff Parthay, a good friend of mine from Immortal Restoning, says hello. But the question that I wanted to ask you is, do you collect anything wrestling related, whether it be wrestling figures, shirts, belts?
Man, when I was younger, When I was younger, I used to collect toys. Toys was my thing, man. I had literally crates and crates and crates of toys. Luckily, I kept them, and my kids, both of my boys, they have them.
Oh,
So
that's awesome.
yeah, so they have them right now. But as far as right now, like the only thing I can't. I don't think I do collect anything that's wrestling related just because I never really have time to like go out and like get something that I really like. I mean, the only thing that I have a lot of is like wrestling t-shirts, but that's because people like give them to me.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
But
yeah. Of
yeah,
course.
so I have like tons and tons of wrestling t-shirts, but that's about it.
There you go. So that's a question for the ages. But and we want to talk about more of yourself in WWE. And you did mention, that at a time you were dissatisfied with the position that you were in at the time, or the way that things were going. So they decided to split you. You had some time off, and in that time off, what I saw you do was you dropped a rap song, which you saw, which you did a collaboration, and I watched it, and man, you got some skills, Leo. Like I was like, I didn't know you were into music, and when I found that, I was like, oh shit! And I was like trying to find some more of your stuff to listen to, and being a hip hop fan as well. Like I'm more of a rock guy, but I have grown up around listening to the hip hop music. I grew up with, Tupac, Biggie, stuff like that, and I listen to a lot of hip hop now. But how major has music been a part of your life? From childhood to where you're at now.
Yeah, that was something that I definitely wanted to introduce to everybody. My fans and supporters and stuff like that, just
Yeah.
letting them get to know me a little bit more personally. But music has been a part of my life since I was a little kid. Before I was even born, my parents um, were a gospel duet,
Oh,
and
wow.
they've been nominated for Stellar Awards and different awards all over the world. But
Yeah.
it's I feel like it's always been a part of me. I always knew that I would be involved within the music industry in some capacity. I just didn't know how or when or exactly what it is. But even with what I'm doing now, I know you said that it's majority like hip hop and stuff like that, but I don't even see it as just hip hop or just rock or just like R&B and stuff like that. I started out writing poetry, and I eventually kind of transitioned that into rap or hip hop, and I just see it as expressing myself, and just however I feel like that's kind of the genre that I lean
Yeah.
more towards. Like I've made a rock song that's currently on my EP right now that I released back in November called "Crave for Blood." Um, but yeah, man, it's been a part of my life forever, and I'm glad that I've been able to share that with people.
Music is such an important aspect to a lot of people, and music can really sort of songs give you memories,
Yeah.
and memories of past. So I've been in music since a very young age. I've been in bands before. I actually have a microphone tattoo, which you can't really see. But
Oh yeah.
for me, like as you said, when you started writing poetry, for me, I started writing songs from writing stories, and it would
Mm.
be writing a story and then going back and looking at it and going, oh, I can turn this into a song, and making it fit. But when did you decide that making music was going to be something that you wanted to pursue?
I knew it from the moment I wasn't on Raw anymore. Uh, I knew that I needed to do something to show people a different side of me. I feel like I struggled a lot personally, just because I put everything into my character uh, with the whole man of the hour persona
Mm.
and being with Bobby and stuff like that, and just being a heel. I feel like a lot of people truly thought that I was this person. I was like a major asshole, and
That's
And
because you did your job really, really fucking
yeah,
well. You know.
and that's anything that I do. Anything that I do, I want to commit to it. If you tell me that you know, we want people to hate you, I'm gonna make people hate me.
Yeah.
So uh yeah, man, I was getting like so many like hateful messages on a daily, hateful emails, death threats, and I it just made me. I was really depressed. I was miserable. I needed to find a way to show people that, you know, I'm not this guy. Like, I have feelings, I have emotions and stuff like that. So I thought it was a cool way to express myself, to show people that, you know, I'm a human being.
Yeah.
And
Another
yeah,
side.
yeah, man. But yeah, as soon as I knew that I was going to be home for a while, I was like, this is the perfect time to start my music.
Yeah, and you've got some serious talent there, and I definitely want to go down and check out that rock song. So I know what I'm going to be doing when I get off here. So,
Definitely.
but also just another thing, music and wrestling. Another big aspect of it now is tattoos. Yeah, you're pretty much covered in tattoos. So Kevin and I am as well, so there's definitely no judgment there. We love tattoos here on Shooting the Shit. But Kevin Rodriguez asks, what tattoo hurt the worst, and do you have any that you regret?
Yeah, those are cool questions. So my first tattoo that I ever got was I have a poem written on my stomach. And I guess I could show if people don't know what it is. But yeah, I have a huge poem written on my stomach. And I got that when I was 14 years old. And that was my first tattoo. And
Oh,
that one hurt the most to me. uh yeah, that was painful. I got it like in one of my friends did tattoos, but he had a shed and it was outside. He didn't have any heat, and it was in the middle of the winter.
uh,
Yeah, so I was freezing and I got that done. um
and that's a massive tattoo to get for your
yeah,
first one, like covering your whole midsection, like your whole
yeah,
stomach, pretty
dude.
much. Like, and that's a painful area too, man. I've only
Yeah,
got the arms and the back done so far, but yeah, I'm kind of like bitching out now because I'm like trying to get to the places like here where I know it's gonna
yeah.
suck in my chest, and I'm like, yeah. My tattooist is like, so when are we gonna get you back in here? I'm like, oh, I don't know. He's like, stop being a bitch. Come on, let's
Yeah.
get this in.
Yeah,
But
man.
yeah. But yeah, so that's obviously the one that hurt the most. But do you have any wrestling related tattoos that you've gotten over the years?
Any wrestling related tattoos?
Or music related as well?
I think the only real like wrestling related tattoo that I have, and I wouldn't even call it wrestling because again, this was something that was influenced due to like personal situations that I had going on in my life. But
Absolutely.
I actually have, and I don't even know you can see that, but I have a black heart on my bicep right here,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah, I can
and
see.
the veins go up to my shoulder. But yeah, that's the only thing that I think people would associate uh,
With the
with
character.
with the character. And I also recently just got this moth on my chest.
Oh, that's
So
cool.
yeah, so I think that might be the closest thing that I have to a wrestling related tattoo.
With getting tattoos in WWE, do you have to get like a tick of approval or a sign off to get something tattooed? Or
Yeah,
is that or is that or is that just the biggest misconception of
no,
like
it's true, it's true. But for me, in my case, you know, I kind of stopped caring, just because you know I don't have like a wrestling toy. Like I've been scanned for a wrestling toy, but and I think that's the two biggest things for either a video game or wrestling toys. If you get a new tattoo after you already got scanned, then they have to rescan you. So,
yeah.
and that's a pain in the ass. So that I think that's why you need to get the approval. But in my case, you know, I wasn't on the game last year, or I haven't had a toy since I've been in the WWE. So I kind of just said, you know, screw it.
Come on, WWE, pull your finger out of your ass. Get this man an action figure, please. Let's get him on a video game. Come on, like
Come
seriously,
on, man.
the man of the oh, he got kids. He needs to, you need some of that video game money. But and that's the thing. Like, it's interesting. Like, where like in WWE is now doing the empty arena shows, doing the the no audience live shows. How do you find that being put in a situation, that performers now have to, being in a professional wrestling business is like there's communication in those rings, there's communication between the two workers. How do you find it, like, for workers to be able to now go in and do matches where where they're essentially a bit more exposed?
Yeah. I don't know, man. I think for me it would be. See, I think it's just interesting. It's interesting to watch. Obviously I'm not on TV right now, but it's interesting to watch, the guys that have been on the indies for so long that got signed to the WWE,
Yeah.
you know, and have been used to wrestling in front of very little people and close to no people at all. And then on the other hand, you have people, guys and girls who have grew up in the WWE and are used to the production and used to the thousands and thousands of fans. So it's probably extremely difficult or a bit of a hit uh, for those people. And I don't know. I try to watch it and see if there's a difference. And I definitely think that there is. The best match to me at WrestleMania was Drew Gulak versus Cesaro. Um, two
Great.
two guys that were used to wrestling in front of very little to close to no people at all on the independent circuit. So I think they felt some level of comfort. But yeah, man, it is weird to watch. It's very weird to watch.
Yeah, like it is weird to watch because it's not normal, and it's not the usual thing that we're used to seeing, and especially like with WrestleMania being this larger than life, the granddaddy of them all spectacle. Upon watching that, like for a fan, it was hard to get into WrestleMania this year. It was
Yeah.
hard to sit there and really get into it. It had some great matches. It was a great card. It was very stacked. But as a fan, I think that the watching at home, you do sort of feed off that live energy from the crowd as well. So, but I want to talk as well about your NXT cruiserweight title run as well. So, when you won the cruiserweight title and you were heading into Survivor Series, you seemed to really be the one that was leading that charge for NXT into Survivor Series. How did you feel to be in that position again? Back on Raw and SmackDown, but not as a mouthpiece, but really being as a pivotal one of the characters in the driving force into WrestleMania, into Survivor Series. Sorry.
Yeah, it was super cool, man. It almost felt surreal. It didn't feel real at all, uh, because I remember, that all kind of came about due to, a lot of our guys kind of being stuck over in Saudi Arabia, and I just remember, all of the NXT talent kind of had to fill those shoes and got flown out last minute, which was pretty cool. And I was already there because it was being filmed the same day as 205 Live. So it was cool to be a part of that, and not only be a part of it, but like you said, to kind of be in a position where it looked like I was leading the charge and being sitting at the top of the tank and running out there and being, kind of like that main person. It was pretty cool, man. And I got the first win for Team NXT at Survivor Series. So
Yeah.
it was awesome, man. That everything that I've done in the WWE has been so special and a part of history.
Yeah.
Nobody will ever forget that. That will forever be in the history books. You know, my run with Bobby Lashley, forever in the history books. You know, my that moment of, you know, the whole WWE, the whole Monday Night Wars reenactment, that is a
Yeah.
part of history, and I'm right there in the forefront. So that's pretty amazing, pretty special moment for me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, you know, you can definitely see, you know, you've had some very special moments in WWE. And I keep mentioning your age and how young you are and how bright that your future is, you know, and obviously looking at professional wrestling today as opposed to what it was like when, you know, obviously back in the 90s and 80s, where to be successful in professional wrestling, you had to be this 6'7", 280-pound, 300-pound, you know, mammoth man. And, you know, as the years have gone on, and obviously in the last sort of 5 to 10 years specifically, you know, professional wrestling has really evolved with the times, whereas you don't necessarily have to be that big jacked up monster, you know, big scary wrestler dude to be successful in the business. You look at guys like yourself, Daniel Bryan, Drew Gulak, Ali as well. You know, and a lot of these guys are really starting to come up and develop names, and as well as, you know, put themselves in big storylines as well. Daniel Bryan being, you know, former champion and being one of the most over guys on the roster, but also being, you know, 5'7", 5'8". You know, it's good to see that the smaller guys are finally getting their time to really shine, and I think it's because obviously the generation this time, and also the talent is just undeniable.
Yeah, definitely,
Yeah,
man. Yeah, I'm glad that it's starting to go in that direction. A lot of these guys are so talented, and you know, it shouldn't be, you know, hindered by you know, opportunity shouldn't be hindered by size or weight or any of that. You know, these guys are super talented, so I'm glad that it's going that way.
yeah, and you know, who were some of the ones that you really looked up to over the years? You know, getting into professional wrestling. You know, obviously at a childhood level, you know, who were some of the ones that really sort of stood out to you?
As far as like guys around my size or just any guy.
Could be anyone, like any guys that you looked up to in the wrestling business.
There was a few. There were no, I'm not gonna say a few. There was a handful. I grew up watching wrestling around the ruthless aggression era. That makes me probably sound so young, but yeah, that's the wrestling that I grew up on. You know, but I just remember always being attracted to guys like Eddie Guerrero, Kurt
Yeah.
Angle, um, of course, like Brock Lesnar, when Cena, Batista, man, just that roster was absolutely ridiculous. Uh,
Agreed.
just remember, I just remember being, you know, attracted to those guys the most and being inspired by those guys the most. But I always, even though I looked up to those guys, the people that inspired me more than anybody was watching the cruiserweights. Watching guys like Billy Kidman, watching guys like Tajiri and Chavo and Gregory Helms, like all of those guys. Of course, Rey Mysterio. How could I forget Rey
Yeah,
Mysterio?
absolutely.
But yeah, watching those guys compete, and Ultimo Dragon was another one that was pretty cool. But
J Crown champion, him with all those belts. That's one of the most iconic photos in wrestling to me. You know.
yeah, man, those guys made me just want to do this more than anything in the world.
Yeah, look, it's you know, you know, obviously once you got into pro wrestling, did you have different sort of guys that you looked up to that you really sort of aspired to be? Like, you know, obviously, you know, we look at back and you mentioned Drew Gulak. He was obviously in CZW just before yourself, and I think he was there for a little bit before when you were there as well. But when you were there, sorry. Who did you look up to once you broke into the business?
I looked up to guys like Joey Janela, Sammy Callahan, Shane Strickland, David Starr, um, because all of those guys helped me out when they did not have to. Um, you know, I truly believe that I wouldn't be in the position that I'm in today if it wasn't for those handful of guys right there. You know, I traveled the road with them. I've been across the country with them, out of the country. It 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 was pretty special for me just because I was surrounded by so many talented people who helped me out when, you know, they did not have to at all. So truly appreciative of that. But as far as WWE, you know, I wasn't, even though I was still watching it, I feel like as soon as I broke into the business, my entire view on it just changed completely. You know, I wasn't worried about being the next this person. I wanted to be my own person. And back to the question of did I have any goals? You know, I only had that one mindset, but I set like small goals for myself. And one of those goals were I just want to make everybody look good. I want to be the best seller in the world.
Yeah.
Because if I can make somebody look good, I can get booked on more shows. That's all that I cared about was making other people look good. So yeah, that was some small goals for me.
All right, so we've got another question from the audience. Kevin asks again. Kevin's got another one. Leo, other than wrestling and music, what is something that you are passionate about that your fans may not be aware of?
Yeah, I've been wanting to break into acting. I want to be involved in movies, which is going to become a reality very soon. I've just been casted for The Legend of the White Dragon, which is a spinoff of the Power Rangers. So I'm pretty excited about that.
So you got to be a Power Ranger? Is that going to have the Power Rangers? What can you tell us, Leo? Come on.
Even, you know, that's something that is gonna have to wait. The only thing that I can say right now is that I will be a part of that project. But regardless of, you know, if I'm a Power Ranger, if I'm a villain, whatever the case may be, I'm pretty excited to be a part of that.
Absolutely. So we got another question from the audience, from Daniel. He says, "G'day, Piers and Leo Rush. Leo, what would be an all-time dream match of yours from past, present, or future?"
Past, present, or future. Oh man, I would have loved to get in the ring with Eddie Guerrero. That would have been pretty cool. I think I'm gonna do past, present, and future.
Absolutely.
So
Let's go.
from the past, definitely Eddie Guerrero. Present, man, I really wish that I could get in the ring with Rey Mysterio. That would be either Rey Mysterio or Jeff Hardy for me. Those are my two. Those are my two matches. And then, you know, in the future, I mean, I guess I wouldn't really know, but you know, I guess I just want to be looked at as, you know, a legend. I want to be looked at as, you know, somebody who has done this for a while and has, you know, been at every level, and not only has been at every level, but, you know, has been successful at every level and has been everywhere. You know, I take pride in the work that I put in and the mindset and drive and passion that I have. You know, I feel like I wouldn't be in the position that I'm in today if I didn't have that. You know, being able to have competed on NXT, 205 Live, Mixed Match Challenge, Monday Night Raw. I got to, you know, be a part of WrestleMania and go back to NXT. So I've been able to touch so many different areas of the WWE, and yeah, I think just for the future, I want to be everybody else's dream match. So yeah,
you want to be the one that they aspire to want to work with and against. So, you know. But I definitely understand where that's coming from and that mentality. So, you know, for you, what's your short-term plans where you're at now with NXT?
Short-term plans, you
Or
know,
short-term goal. Short-term goal.
Even that right there is just so difficult to say Obviously,
Loaded
because
question.
of the pandemic that we're in right now, you know, what's going on in the world, like who knows when things are going to get back to remotely normal. But again, man, I've just never been, you know, that person to be, you know, so specific on those goals, just because you never know what's going to happen, especially in the world of wrestling. You have
Sure.
no idea. I'm pretty sure Austin Theory's, you know, short-term goal wasn't to be a part of WrestleMania. I'm sure he had absolutely no idea that he was going to be in that position. So again, like you never know what is going to happen in wrestling. I think just overall, short term, long term, I just want to continue to keep building a name for myself, continue to show people that I'm hungry, that I'm passionate, and that I love this business that we're a part of.
Yeah, and there's not much more you can really sort of want to achieve to get out of it. But before we wrap up, we do a little thing here on the show called Guess the Aussie Slang.
Okay.
So have you been to Australia before, Leo?
I have not. I was supposed to go, but I have not.
All right. Well, you know what? I tell you what. When you come to Australia, hit me up, and I'll be able to take you to a few spots. I've actually got a friend who's got a recording studio, so if you want to record some music, I can hook that up for you. But all right. But you know what? We're going to prepare you for when you come to Australia after this pandemic. These are some of the words that you're going to need to know, right? And I'll use them in a. I'll say the word, then I'll use it in a sentence. Okay.
All right.
All right. So. All right. Here we go. Oh my God, they're out today. Need to give the old Aussie salute. Aussie salute.
They're out today. Need to give the old Aussie salute. Oh, shit, man. I think just like saying hello.
No, waving flies away like fucking flies.
Oh,
The Aussie salute.
wow.
So,
Okay.
all right, that one was a little bit of a hard one. All right, so see Leo, see this bloke over here. He's a dead set bludger. What is a bludger?
Something that's, oh my gosh, I'm gonna sound like an idiot trying to explain all of these.
That's all right.
Something that's like stationary, I guess. Like
No,
you said,
So look, well, I'll give you a point for that. So a bludger is someone who's lazy. So calling someone a dead set bludger, someone who's lazy, wants everyone to do something for them. So kind of been like, hey Leo, we're going to go to the gym, but like, yeah, can you come and pick me up and get me a pre-workout on the way? Bring me a towel as well because I'm going to get sweaty and that. And bring me a bottle of water as well before you pick me up.
okay,
Get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean? Like that would be it.
All right.
All right. So another one is brolly. It's pissing down outside. Make sure you take your brolly.
Oh man, I'm just gonna say umbrella.
Yeah, that was it. That was correct.
Okay.
All right. You want a bicky? Bicky.
Like a pacifier?
No, like a biscuit. Like you want a bicky.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. All right. Fuck me dead.
Like screwing you over?
No, like fuck me dead is more of like you're in shock. Like you told me something like, fuck me dead. That just happened. So that's another one. All right.
Like shocked. Okay.
All right. I just need to go to the dunny.
Bathroom.
Yep. Okay. No worries. Mate, that bloke is a dead set galah.
Oh, this one's gonna be so hard. Yeah, I have no idea what that could be.
All right.
No
So like a dead set galah, like someone who's just like completely off with the fairies or just a bit silly. So, all right. So we'll go with a couple more. I'm just going to go get drive through. I think I'm going to get Macca's. What is Macca's?
McDonald's.
Yeah, that's correct.
Oh, perfect.
Okay. Yeah, no worries. All right, so we'll get another one. Fucking mozzies. What's a mozzie?
Like police, cops.
I'll say fucking mozzies.
Flies,
Mosquitoes.
mosquitoes.
All right, we got another one. Dead set. You should have seen my mate at the pub the other night. He ended up pashing the bartender. What does pashing mean?
Tipping.
No. To pash or pashing means to kiss, to make out with.
Oh, wow. Okay.
All right. So we go one more, okay?
All right.
Hey, Leo, you want to come over to my house and drink some piss?
Beer.
Yeah, I know. A lot of people I tell that to, like, especially for, like, Americans or English, like, or someone like that. I'll say, oh, hey, yeah, I'm just going to drink some piss. They're like, why the fuck are you going to drink urine, dude? And I'm like, no,
Yeah.
no, I'm drinking beer, man. But yeah, look, no, that's all of the Aussie slang we've got. Leo, thank you so much for coming on. I will get you to hang back with me just a minute after we finish up going live. But where can people get in contact with you? And have you got anything you'd like to plug as well?
Yeah, definitely. You can get in contact with me on so many different social media websites. I'm all over the place, but I'm on Twitter at it's Leo Rush. I'm on Instagram at Rush Leo Rush. I'm on TikTok at Hey It's Leo. You can shoot me over an email at contact music by Leo. Again, that is Contact Music by Leo for all music inquiries. But yeah, that's pretty much it, man.
That's awesome. But look, I just want to say a special thank you to Leo for coming on the show. Also, I'd like to make a special mention to our sponsors, Signal Studios, who I did mention that I'd take Leo to when this pandemic's over and he's in Australia. You can go there. It's a recording space. It's a rehearsal space. It makes music, beats, whatever you guys that are out there needing. If you want something to do in this pandemic, you can buy a beat off my boy Rafi, and he'll be able to send that over to you, and you can write your own songs to it as well. Also is our sponsors, Mayan Belts. So Mayan make the best replica championship belts, whether it is a replica of your favorite belt seen on TV or your own custom championship belt. Also A-Rock Design. So my friend Ashley Rodriguez, she makes these amazing cups, tumblers, hoodies, keychains, you name it, she makes it. She does a wrestling theme on a lot of her stuff, but also is doing a couple of other style of themes as well. She can do pretty much anything that you want. I've got 3 cups coming, 2 for my kids, 1 for me, and I can't wait to get those. And my last but not least is Immortal Restoning. I just want to thank Immortal Restoning, Jeff Parthay, for being a sponsor. If you have a belt that just needs an upgrade or you just want to make it look shiny, contact Jeff. Also want to thank Mikey Mados for making all my cool artwork and designs. Appreciate it. But guys, that I've done my plug-in. Leo, thank you so much for coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I really appreciate you giving us your time.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. I appreciate being on here.
No worries, guys. Until next time, guys,